for a month. We, salon business. Talk small, but waiting they go now we country, waiting we want for see for change, waiting we not lack, waiting we lack and whatnot. I hope so now all they do well, I hope so the family then they do well. As soon as no they for another one man do not bearing between I so and we bearing between one person they cry now all man they cry. So I don't go waste much time. As soon as I see the topic, I want one time, make we not waste time. I want for make me guest them today, tell una I do. But if una see other people and they join as the show they go on, una no worry yo, because today we get for rotate small. Not also we've been planning, but not so it be. Okay, so I go make this Basic Camara the one time APC flag bearer aspirant make it tell Fambulde I do this even 10.
Hello, me Fambulde, on a good evening, on a good morning, and good afternoon. We are so ever on a fan on safe. This Nabasi Camara again, one time flag bearer aspirant of the All People's Congress Party. We deny for deliberate issues concerning event Mama SALONE, and we want for enlighten una about how things they goes on that our country there. Una will be the judge based on what we can deliberate now so today. So now stay tuned.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Bassi. Now I want to go to my other guest today, where Mr. Bassi they represent the APC line of thought, and today we other guests then they represent the NGC line of thought. When I'm Mr. Alan Luke, when are the UK and I NGC chair. Mr. Alan say kushe to fumble them. I think say your microphone they off. I think say your microphone they off, Mr. Alan. Your microphone still they off. You there, Yariwi? Okay, but you can say something again.
Good evening. You hear that?
Yes.
Okay. If I'm Leone, good evening. Excuse the small delay. And also good morning as well, on a day, because right now in the UK, this is not good morning, not morning time. So on a good morning. Mina Alan Luke, Mina the chair of NGC UKI. Adeyaso today, this evening, in a personal capacity. But hopefully, I just want to share some of my own thinking about what's in the going on in the country. So on a good evening, good morning, good afternoon as well.
Okay, so Mr. Alan, I go ask you for make you issue microphone up small so that Fambul then go hear you. But before we before I begin, ask me guests then some questions them. I want make all man because I know say lights now Fambul then go they ask say, hey Matilda, you don't introduce somebody for APC, you don't introduce somebody for NGC, but the current party where they rule the country in SLPP. How come you not introduce somebody from the SLPP? Me Fambule not so because I not call people from the SLPP. The person who been for can represent SLPP as previously pan. It just turned out for say, the country the way we don't depending on the career you field. Not only they manage your own schedule. You schedule sometimes now they manage you. So because of scheduling difficulties, the person not able there and he not be able to find somebody for replace them. So me they launch out a personal appeal. If anybody there so where they watch, be sure this even them. We know for say a very au fait meaning that a very conversant, a very knowledgeable about the current government, the international policies, them bilateral, the multilateral, policies, then please call the show, flag me attention, and we go make you kind side, we go make you can officially sit down and also join the discussion, because I don't want to make people and feel say there is a biased representation. No, there isn't a biased representation, and at any time any of the SLPP people them way I reach out to, where the team reach out to, we feel say they're supposed to get a seat now, so which is duly so. Please, una reach out to win at the comments. We go to monitor the comments them, or una call the show line directly. We go to monitor the phone lines, and we go bring you kind inside, because by no means have been planned for make this be a representation of the oppositions only. I really wanted the SLPP side to be here so that it will be a balanced and fair discussion. With that said, however, if nobody not turn up, I go try my best as the moderator and as the host for make it be as fair and as equitable as possible. Now, so we guess them. When I see the question where I asked today, say, have the current administration made lasting gains for Sierra Leone with the international community? Mr. Alan, I go to you. What do you think of this question, and what are your assessment of the current administration in line with this question thus far?
So it's an interesting question. So my own view is very simply, I go say no, because the specific word there we use is lasting gains. Whether since this government came, then don't do something way no other government not do, or then don't really take the country up far from inside the other government being left. So if you ask me, my own personal assessment of that is no. But I also want to make a point, say, the thing that will matter to Sierra Leoneans, now the same thing that also matter to the international community. So you cannot necessarily just divorce them two things then there. So in terms of me opening comments on that, no, they don't make any lasting gains at this time. They may try to do something by the time they get to 2023. Obviously, by that time, they're going to try to send signals then to the voters. But as at now, they don't make anything or do anything where they show say they don't achieve any lasting gains within the national community. Very fast, so we get a state of emergency in place right now, where the government not use the state of emergency for any particular purpose for actually affect the delivery of its response for the COVID-19. Just show you say again, just like the previous APC government, we used the same sort of state of emergency provisions where we can get Ebola. You see the same type of behavior that continues. So if you ask me as a comment, no, they don't make any lasting gains, not at this point, certainly. If you want the specific reasons, I'm happy to go into that, but I suspect you will bring this as we go forward.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Mr. Bassi, Mr. Alan don't say, he say no, things say the government don't make any gains, internationally. In terms of where it can for push SALONE go before, for promote SALONE, and for, get really tight bilateral, multilateral, how you call them, partnerships them with other countries them, and even with the business world and whatnot. He also mentioned something where he say, but sometime by 2023, sometimes they go get there, but as of now, they not get there. Now, this government don't then have power for over 2 years. If they don't then have power for over 2 years, what means say they don't serve half of the term already, then they inside the last half of the term constitutionally according to the constitution. You agree with what Mr. Alan say, or you disagree with what he say? And tell me why make you agree, or tell me why make you disagree.
All right. Thank you very much, Matilda. Let me start by saying, in the first place, the comparative analysis done by Mr. Alan, that he see the same trends and pattern on the COVID-19, the way this government established the state of emergency, and what may happen in 2017 under the APC administration, where we can get the Ebola. He said it is see the same pattern, the trends. Of course, that is not correct. Just to start there. That is not correct. Why it is not correct? We see the robustness of and it's by Chroma. We in Safe Gap the very first day. I was there myself. I was present there. A worker, a go na Motome, I think that is the name inside the tragedy take place. A day is sympathize with the people and we see the old wash way and it's by Kumari shed tears. Immediately we set up a camp na hill station for ensure see the people that were affected and give them temporary place for live. So, a strike, to the cause of action, that robustness, where we not see that this government. On the other aspect, I agree with them that they not do anything. And one of the things where I will cite here is the Afrobarometer just come out, where they do some kind of assessment. Now that will get for bill, be premise, then I expand beyond. We find out, say, 65% of the population of Sierra Leone denounce this government, cry this government. They make them openly say the government's not in the right direction. They don't fail the people in, and they don't get any insight at all for governing nation. 35% say then satisfy with waiting the government they do and the direction where they go. But in contrast, and we tend for put things into perspective, we go able for categorize who side is 35% come out. But as we go on, as I say, I will expand on that. So this government not able for achieve anything. They not get anything whatsoever what they able for tell the people of Sierra Leone, see, the international community agree with them. Normally, I can always use a word now, I can always break. I said this government not understand what we call a structural, symbolical imperative. They don't understand. Because if they understand that, they will know, say, when they live in a global village, in anything where they do, you get for less, with the international community, because you face value. Now, in the speak, now you face value, that is, you value your culture, your vision. Now, in the representing the international community, on the other hand, they assess and analyze your structural imperative. That is to say, your domestic policies, the way they implement for attract, foreign investors, for come in and diversify your economy. Now, that they look into. But we find out, say, many things absent. Number one, there is no stability in the country, political unrest. Then they arbitrarily arrest, opposition, then put them behind bars. If you're not lucky, then maybe you are gone 6 feet down. So all of these things, we don't see that. In terms of development, it is nil. All the promises are failed promises. Nothing. It's only agony, pain, suffering, violence, just the increase in the country. I will stop here so forth as we go before.
Okay, so basically for me, my focus today is really for looking at the international frontier side of things, for really look at the international communities. I don't want to make we delve into national issues today. I really want to make we just focus on the international front, and all of we evidences them and arguments them, make them be based on the perception or we policies them, and how them policies then they make we look when at the international community. If they give we weight or if they make we for them. If they make we team up, if they make we sit them or if they make we run. Now then kind thing and they I want make we look into today. So for Mr. Alan, you talk about the implication of the emergency, the declaration of the state of emergency. So I want to ask you a question. The recent 2020 HDI, where now the Human Development Index, put SALONE na 181 out of 189 countries then. I don't think say we don't ever go that low. Even during the war era, I don't think say we sink that low in the human development index. Could the state of emergency as well have contributed to this? Even though I know for say these data are collected a year ahead of time and then released, but could it have had some form of implication? Or now we policies them within the international development, community, within the international development home, or horns them. Now in weaken, now in really robust, now that make we the see them kind numbers there. So or now the way where we policies them, we in internal policies them not align with international policies there. Now that make we not they make gains.
Okay, so what I could say is we need to understand, say, the international community, as best as it possible for them, they will try to work with you on a partnership basis. Okay, so we get to take into account quite a lot of government expenditure comes from the international community, comes from our donors. Okay, so for me, the issue is it's really much more to do with our own policies. So we all remember, say, President Bill declared 2020 as the year of delivery when they may go meet after during the third cabinet retreat now in Timani. President Bill during that time called on his ministers and his civil servants and he tell them say one for let them deliver results. And that budget for that year was 9.3 trillion leones, which is equivalent to $1 billion US. Now, what think President Bill not do when we talk about the year of delivery is not tell Sierra Leoneans and perhaps also tell the international community what in delivery mean. Waiting it look like, waiting at the short, medium, long-term objective, waiting at the outcomes that we will expect for that delivery. So, if you imagine you're not the international community, if you're not the foreign, if you're not the DFID, we now don't become part of the UK Foreign Office, you want to know what you give you money towards. Now for the government for set out them priorities then there. Now for the government for identify the areas then the public policy areas the way it target for make improvements. So that we can actually say, okay, let's look into these particular areas and see how we can put the necessary things in place for get the kind of long-term sustained development and improvement. Now, if you remember, for example, when we were going into the election, let's take as an example, the BO government, the SLPP manifesto talked a lot about food security. They said we were going to be self-sufficient in rice production. And we've gone 2 years in. During that time, last 2 years, government has spent $11 million on various measures to improve productivity in our agricultural sector. We are spending 6% of our national budget on agriculture. So with that kind of money, what would they put in? You will begin for say by now, see some kind of tangible things the way the government they achieve towards rice self-sufficiency in rice production. We've got a chief minister in our government who has been absent. The public not even see. And nothing to say the chief minister don't show up in any government meetings or any public place for the last 3 months. Now that chief minister, Mr. Francis, is also meant to be the rice czar. So, but all we hear from this man is that he wants to be the first rice millionaire. So you can imagine the massive conflict of interest here, where you've got a very senior government official, where for the drive, we focus around rice production, so we get self-sufficiency in food, actually is more preoccupied with making himself a millionaire. So when you look at that, if you're not the international community person, where they come up from the DFID or USAID or some German agency or something else, you have to scratch your head for things to say, how do people behave? Because you not go do that in your own job overseas in America or in the UK, wherever you base. So when we begin to look at some of these things, you begin to ask the question about we own government, we own leadership they provide, what they do for make them lasting impacts, and because really the international community is not going to be impressed. If you look, for example, at say sanitation, the government under President Bio came and brought about national cleaning, a one-day event once a month. But with cleaning needs, we sanitation needs, we health needs, especially coming out of Ebola and now having the COVID pandemic, we need to organize sanitation, access to water, the whole cleaning of our country in a much, much more professional and better way. Have you seen? You don't see any improvements other than once every month with the Frog March everybody, a Saturday, when one of your most productive days economically, we go use them for clean the country. Now, albeit the country now as far is cleaner than it was under Ernest Koroma, and I know Mr. Bassina go lecture that, but that's the truth. But actually, one monthly cleaning a month, and now, for example, if you're in Freetown, that cleaning exercise is actually being funded by DFID. And guess what? At this moment in time, Tambalamina, the minister of local government, is blocking Mayor Akisoya's access to her revenue to do her work. So you've got this silly thing going on where we say we have a national aim and ambition for change the country and for improvement, but yet you have a minister who is behaving like a juvenile delinquent, blocking somebody who the minister should be working with as a partner in the mayor of Freetown. Remember, Freetown has at least over 1 million people. You would think a sensible government will say, we need this Freetown mayor because it covers such a large area. We need for work with them in order to make sure, we're delivering what is also our ambition as a government. Because surely we're not going for end 5 years by simply doing national cleaning one day a month, when actually by the time you clean on the first Saturday, the dirty don't pile back by the next month. That's surely not a good way of organizing. If you think about employment, the area of employment as an example, President Bio on the 4th of January 2018 went to the BBC. He said he will create 500,000 jobs in his first year. Now, recently, because Bio has not created any jobs in 2018 or 2019, the only jobs he's created is to kick out the APC, whole scale from ministries, and to put his own cronies and to add more people to the government wage bill. That's the jobs he's created. But if you think recently, a month ago, JJ Safar announced the creation of these 27 car washes. They're going to employ 1,600 young people. Now think about it. When Bio came into power, he was going to these TED Talks. He was talking about human capital development. He was talking about how our young people should not miss out on the fifth industrial revolution, AI technology. And what does he offer? 1,600 jobs in a car wash, when every other African country, they talk, say, well, we picking them at the future. We youth, we young men in the future. We get for give them access to the new technologies. We get for let them train well enough so they can compete. And all President Bio can offer our young people is 1,600 jobs in a car wash. Well, Alan, you can salon can set up a car wash. We don't need government yandi. Private operators then can do that kind of thing. We need government for show vision. We need government for show say it gets a serious program of saying this is where we want to go. So when you talk about making then lasting change, for me, that's the issue. It is what are you doing that's different from what been done happen before. Now that the international community want to understand. Waiting at the thing the way they do now, we will not one day see happen at SALONE. And quite frankly, nothing that the government has done other than to mete out violence has not happened before. Let's be frank.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. for laying out all of the different, points. Then when we talk about international, you see, what we do inside the country, now they build with credibility outside. Now they make the partners them from outside the institutions like IMF, World Bank, other lending partners, even the AFDB and all of these other institutions and big NGOs. Now, what we do inside, now they make the yai turn to we. When you see countries like Ghana today developing and thriving, it's because of some of these changes that they made internally, and then the international community, they monitor them and see the progress system where then they make internally, and how they serve and how them policies they are so can help for bring them come up. So when we see countries like Rwanda, we see Botswana, we see Malawi, we see even as recent Tanzania, we don't come off from underdeveloping to middle income country. Yes, there are things going on internally that you might question, but what not? And people can say, moving from one to another, not just paperwork, but no, you see the changes happening internally. And are there internal processes there, are there internal developments there? So now in the cascade for make we self come up and for make we self look able before the international community. Mr. Ambassi, this now 2020 records them. And again, I am saying this, if there is someone from the SLPP or someone will understand the SLPP, the current government policy, and you want for join the show, please come on. The reason why I keep for repeat this, because obviously people and they join the show, and I don't want to make them feel to say this was a bias, I'm sure I personally reach out to a lot of SLPP people then, but like I say, scheduling conflict. So you go stop Motor Man for make you go fending and tomot and say can't sit down here, they can't talk salon politics. That is impossible. So anybody where no and where one for join, please write people and they where the monitor, where they look the comments, then call with the phone lines are being monitored right now. The comments are being monitored. If you want for join, please make a sign, make a signal at the comment or call the numbers directly and we go put you through immediately, because definitely I don't want to make the SLPP voice or the current administration voice or the perception or the thinking or the strategy be lost in this debate. But that can only be done if they agree for come forward and tell we, like when Mr. Alan Sidonayaso, like when Mr. Bassi Sidonayaso, then they defend them point. That can only happen if they come forward and say, Matilda cannot, me not a soothsayer, neither do I have a crystal ball to see into the future for predict things them. But what I can do, however, is to inform the debate and for make we get a good debate. Mr. Bassi, 2022, as April 2020, numbers then. IFM, real GDP data, okay? So the real GDP growth na SALONE diminish minus 2.3%, okay? And then inflation rates in consumer prices go up 15.4%. Now, even within the same period, the IMF give COVID grants, right? COVID grants to SALONE in the tune of $143 million. So inside this COVID grant here, so there is a lot we could have done. I mean, the COVID not hit we like it hit certain places then. There is a lot we could have done with those money for even build with institutions, the institutions such as we healthcare facilities, them, you know, where if person they come on here, so yes, where we all the travel, we get travel insurance, we get medical and whatnot. But if you know say you're gonna country where get top grade, top notch medical facilities, them it make the travel even you know, worrisome free. Because if anything do you know, now sit down they talk say, hey, if that like helicopter, if they not send and come, or if they not send that jet, or if they not send that plane for come pick me on done, or if there is not a nearby country who say, you know, they get facilities, them we go take care of me on done. This is all when we talk about bilateral, multilateral, when we talk about internal policies that affect international policies. Now then so we they talk about. So I want make you up much small pandemic figures there, so we don't give away and waiting at the outcome where we see with some of them money there, so we don't can as SALONE as a form of grants, not or even loan. So now not money that we'll get for payback, but now money that we get for spend wisely for make we as we self go before.
Thank you once again, Matilda. You know, you don't make important illustration, you don't deliberate on issues them way actually, you know, it provoke me attention for look into them things then they deeply. Matilda, you see, we credit rating don't come out internationally. It tells the international community say we the F. That now be grade 181 over 190 or 191.
181 over 189.
Could you imagine? You understand? That is an F grade. If we get F minus, are they Sierra Leone for day? So let me look at this systematically and try to analyze what you may try to say. Now, any government within a power, whether not the US or not Africa or Europe, you name it, where you're not able for measure your system, at the end of the day, you're not able for manager. And if you're not able for manager, you can't control them. Because in everything where we do what we believe so we forget advantage of, or we get control, we get above so that we're able to navigate, you get forget controls. And when you don't put them modalities in place, that is the measurement where you don't take, and you get able for manager. Now, let me take you back. In 2012 upwards, we find out say Sierra Leone need a build in GDP. Gradually, it become a time when Sierra Leone as a nation, you know, become the fastest growing economy in the world. People they make this mistake in Africa. No, the whole world. We get a GDP by then, by 2013, they approach 2014, 20%. 20%. So it was unfortunate for the Koroma administration when the Ebola strike, where it bring everything down to -4. And we found out, say again, in the US, it's not an exception. The greatest economy in the world. We see the same thing will happen when the economy is so buoyant, you know, become the most powerful after 70 years. But when the COVID came, we all see how we're able for it to progress again. So we cannot squarely put the blame on the APC, because APC made a fight. And immediately when we're able to combat such situation, we find out, say, the economy begin to grow. It begin to grow up to the time when the SLPP come. Now, remember, again, I don't deny where I dispute the Minister of Finance with false figures the way it come in terms of the Is it the inflation rate or whatsoever? Yes. When I denounce, they say, hey, World Bank supports. Then I said, no, if the World Bank really supports, they are wrong. I did the calculation, I presented a challenge, not only Sierra Leoneans, but all people them where me the view, make them challenge the figure of bring come. Now we don't, we don't go into that. You find out, say, the inflationary rate and everything where they happen, it don't diminish the economy based on waiting. Then with the professor, the country they grow and it in the right direction. Now we they find out, say, the ratio based on the income disparity. Just waiting, Mr. Alan may try for say.
Okay.
The capacity to why.
Just sorry, I no one cut you, but just before you continue, I've been to read the comments and somebody been to say there is no such way that Sierra Leone GDP growth was projected at 20 points. He said 20, but I just don't cross-check right now. Indeed, in 2013, the Sierra Leone GDP growth rate was projected at 20.7% annually. So I don't check that right now for cross-reference. Go on.
Thank you very much, Matilda, for correct that person. You see, we know the camera for we show who we are. We just, many people know me, right? Now me feel. I'm a master's, I'm a potential PhD candidate. So I'm not going to all those things, right? Predictive analytics, economics, accounting, I'm a background, and I even the teacher na university in the United States of America, because I'm also a professor. So I know they begin, they condescend myself into those kind of petty arguments. Anytime they talk with precision and accuracy, I know what they talk. Right. Now I challenge the one where they say this record come from World Bank and IMF, because I did my calculation and I present all figures. Mr. Kagbo will testify about that now. So when I dispute the then Minister of Finance say it wrong, it mislead the country. The projection will make it totally out of concept. I come with the concept now, they don't come. So when you they read out to it. Now let me come and go into things in details. You see, what you will experience in Sierra Leone at the moment, right? I don't always elect for talk this time. And most of them, even judges of even Sabia, stagflation. Yeah, stagflation, what they call recession inflation. They're not subsidizing and then a SALONE, right? Now, stagflation, that is to say, now when you get unemployment and price, as well as inflation, they rise in a negative correlation. That they rise on the same level and the same angle. It's not supposed to be so. The one who study economics, they understand what's in the Phillips curve. Then they tell you so when unemployment the rise, inflation for decrease, for the reduce. But at this time, now abnormal economy now we get, and they're not able to interpret the economy what we get at the moment. Why? Because they're not able to identify what's in the problems. And if you're not able to identify the problem, you cannot analyze the problem. If you cannot analyze the problem, you cannot formulate good policies. And then policies then they use as your strategic phase. You know what I mean? For navigate the economy. All this is missing. So the government come into power in a DLC concept. You know, in information assurance, we have what we call a DLC, the deception, lies, and cover-up. Now, in this government come into existence. So all what in and do, they find out, say, the people of Sierra Leone are vulnerable. They are thirsty and hunger for development. So what in and do, then come out with some kind of lies, where they go put on the face of the people, then the people will go bow. For example, the then vice president, he come openly and tell the people and say, now I get rice. If we're not selling our rice within 3 months, we will get for compete in a way we not go get for good for now. Where is the rice? That rice did not come out of the country. Now look at the ratio, you understand, for the house and the house lots. Now, when you look that ratio, what's the other type for bill naira? Now follow we understand what to make the rate we negatively F. Now the type for bill naira. Now the house and the house lots. The basic salary for the average man are 500,000. How much a minister they earn? 4,000, right? So how much that the exchange rate for a dollar? Like 8,000, right? Take $4,000, multiply by 1,000. That they give you 40 million. Divide 40 million by 500,000. Now 80. You see the disparity? 80:1. Now in the happen at Sierra Leone. In other words, the minister, they live 80 times more than the average man. He get more privilege. He gets everything we're going to make in life okay. If you even go for demystify that particular theory, you will find out, say, if even you want for the pool chop money per day, the minister go able for the pool 1.2 million per day, where the average man, if you do division, it cannot able to afford, you understand, 15,000 per day. You see the problem? Now they're rating the all come out. Now not look at the maximum production capacity in the country, where they lie, where they're not able to quantify, they're not able to measure. As I say, if you cannot measure something, there is no way you're able to manage them. Now, my brother talk a little bit about agriculture. You see all the policies that we have to formulate. Now, from basic command and spam, now let me go with the large-scale commercial farming. Then I'm able to defend them where everybody is 100% interested about. If you're able to defend them, then it's fake. When I say we're going to produce 2 million tons, because I go now the country with an investor, now the country, but not of that I try for say. Now look at agriculture, where they fail about $11 million that already spent. When you look the administration of Tijankaba, as well as Koroma, when I'm young government, right, in the area of agriculture, they all fail. I want to be very truthful here. I'm an APC. But in the area of agriculture, we fail miserably as an APC. Under the Tijankaba administration, failed miserably. And this current government failed miserably. I come up with a concept, and I have the blueprint. How we go ensure that we're able to produce, feed we save, we market, we package, then we export to the international community. Then how much we going to make per production. In that production, Sierra Leone go able for the make something between 400 to 1.6 billion per harvest. Yes, in terms of revenue. I did all the calculation and I present them and I get them off air as well. So in the area of wearing them people that also they invest in agriculture, they not get the strategy in no day. They not get the conceptual integrity. Where go ensure say then put modality in place, then see reality. The focus when Sierra Leone supposed to do right now, because for now we go into agriculture, the kind of money we need for now we produce the quantum is about $250 million. Forget everything and for make things going. But they still, if they did it, they will still fail because the knowledge is not there. In no day. So that's not a fundamental mistake. When they do every kind of measurement, most of the things that when they put across now a failed policy, because in the first place they never present what we call a model for make them go define them. If you want to come and do that kind of thing, and the international community will ask a lot of questions. One thing before I go, one of the reasons why we fail so miserably, government's not a continuity. We also know that when and it's by Kuma before they left. A year and a half before he left, it came up with the Mamama Airport proposal. This thing we don't go meet the Chinese them, they don't bargain, they don't negotiate. Well, what about something like $415 million? And that airport for be a hub because the plan is there, the model is there. If for be an hub, wherein you go come up from all over the world, what are they for the transit? Could you imagine the massive job from inception, when the job will start, the number of jobs where they don't create that country. You understand? But when these governments come, they kick aside, and the international community they watch. Now I talk about the structural and symbolical imperative. We are saying that something at the bill on. This is not the face of the government on what and this. Then judge you by your character, not by how you look. You see? And when they come again, we see SL mining and all those ones. They're nullify. They say a bad contract. Oh my goodness. They're not business oriented. They don't understand how business they function. Now many people they're out of job. Then they suffer the disparity between the haves and the have-not. You see the ratio. You see the level of suffering. So when you quantify that, in fact, me go create this now. It will be a Bassi concept that for the very first time we don't get negative F. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Bassi. And again, as the show they go on, I continue for remind for say, if you feel say this was employed by Matilda for make just the opposition, then Sidon so no, absolutely not. I reach out to the SLPP people. I reach out to several SLPP, strong holders. Then, like I said, time not conflict in scheduling. I even ask them for make them send substitute. I'm not able to get substitute, but again, like I said, the phone lines are going to be open soon. If you want for just call and contribute, so then a job obviously you're not able to come. But when I want for contribute, the phone lines are open. If you still want to send someone, please, I'm following the trend. I'm watching the comments as much as I can to pick up whoever that is, and then I go get until we, we technical team make them contact them. Just met Suma. I hope you are getting ready to, I hope you are getting ready to log on, even as Mr. Alan go get for the taking leave from we soon. But Mr. Alan, I get a question for you. I don't know how long more you able there, but I need for open the phone lines for take some calls. Depending on how long more you able there, make I know if I go get for ask you me question now, or if I can hold off the question until I take some calls then.
You can ask the question now. I'm happy to stay and take a few calls if there are any calls.
Okay, good. So that said, I will take the
questions
when the callers are calling. It could be someone from the other camp calling to make to give their side of the story. So that's why I'm going to take the call, and when we come back from some of the calls, I will ask you the question.
Okay.
So, that said, caller, waiting at your name and who side they call from.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, caller.
Yeah. Good evening, Matilda, and good evening, Mr. Bassi and others. How are you guys doing?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good.
Just some misinformation over there. Mr. Bassi, they analyze economy in other country. Even though say the minimum rate, pay rate have changed from 500 to 600. Please, when we consider this radio station as a national radio station, don't just sit down there and saying lies. The minimum pay rate in that country now 600, not to 500. Please check that. 2. If you don't understand, it tell we say the vice president.
By the way, sorry, I no need for cut you off, caller, but because it's a very charged topic today, you only have 2 minutes to make your contribution, and I go get for be very strict on the time. Thank you very much.
But you don't. Okay. But okay, the other issue, Mr. Bassi.
I just tell you, say you get 2 minutes.
They fakely tell people and say. It misinformation and say vice president make a statement, say that the people that say the right. If Mr. Bassi can produce audio or video message, now this particular place, I go challenge and say is never not the same propaganda. Him and APC government who they don't fail their country. They know able. They tell we say SALONE be the growth at 20% GDP. within APC party they show for that 20%, because these are the growth like other country, the Southern Africa country, when they grow at that rate, they make sure say they build institution, they build their country. But Mr. Bassi in government, in party, people vote them out because that growth not reflect in the pocket of Sierra Leoneans, it reflect in on the lives of Anes Baikroban and others. Okay. If they talk say what is this? 15%, they talk about inflation. Mr. Bassi, before in government, they kicked them out of that the power. Inflation was 17%. 17%. So if you don't reduce to 50% in the means of COVID and other things, I feel saying a good government. Again, if they talk about IMF and other things, before they kick them out, IMF now, thank God Sierra Leone is not suspended. But Mr. Bassi in government and Matida in our government, the level country, SALONE was suspended. SALONE was suspended with all these institutions you guys are talking about. So please, that government is not perfect. But I believe they are doing better. And Mr. Bassi and Matida, if you guys would have advised APC government, our people life for them better now than how it is. Yeah. Thank you. God bless you. God bless SALONE.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you. I go to the other call, but just for the caller, if you don't watch me, you don't read anything where I write for the past 15 years, you clearly know say I'm not associated to any political party. If you read me writings about the APC, read me writings about the SLPP, you can clearly tell that this is one cat that doesn't belong or doesn't believe in political institution. So next time, just like they say, do your research. Next time, do your research, please. Thank you very much. I'll go to the next caller. Caller, waiting on your name and who's you they call from?
This is now Mike. I call from Philadelphia.
Okay, Mike, Philadelphia, welcome. What do you get for we this evening?
I just want to tell Mr. Bassi, he actually correct when they talk about agriculture. You know, agriculture, all we government in a SALONE don't feel we when it comes to agriculture. Even this present government don't completely feel we when it comes to agriculture. You know, but they're not gonna feel the pinch until 2021, where they don't end up teeth 49,000 bags of rice, and in 2021, we be see the bags of rice go be very, very expensive in that country, and food will be very, very expensive, and even now food expensive, and even because they take the subsidy out of they take the subsidy out of that fuel, then they create all them problem there. So even pepper on a pepper is expensive now, you know, but they don't feel the pinch here. They will feel it in 2021. But what do you want to say with Sierra Leoneans is? What say the love there for SALONE? Where the SALONE people we actually love SALONE? We go able to put SALONE forward, you know. All them politicians, they don't get one love for this country, you know. The country don't move forward because they don't love the country. You know? All them they kind of can thief and go. You know? Then they thief the money and go. Then they get so much pay. They know they realize that the common man they suffer, you know. Then they just they thief the money and go. The country know they move forward. You know, them people are going to call them out, regardless of which party you did. If not SLPP there or whatever party you did, you got to call the truth when not the truth. No, the country know they move forward because the people they know they help the country. Then they thief the money and go. You know, we know they invest the money in nothing. This present administration not invest in nothing. You know, the education what they invest on is nothing. Nothing not come out of that, you know. Nothing at all. The medical department for development, they do nothing. Instead, they go buy jeep there. Nothing, no ambulance, nothing in the country, you know. But therefore, they call the truth. If not SLPP, say the truth. The country, they go the wrong direction. You know, now then they will need to speak on. You know, let people left for the politicized SALONE. Put SALONE first. Tell the people that you they do wrong. You know, it don't matter whose party you dey. You know, now they will get to understand. So, that's my own contribution, really.
Thank you very much. I will take one last call and go to Mr. Allen and relieve Mr. Allen as Mr. Jasmine Suma they come on to replace Mr. Allen. Caller, waiting your name and who say you the call from?
Yes, good evening, Miss Matilda and Mr. Bassi and the NGC panelists at the SALONE. All plenty thank you. Nami Bendo, I call from Kansas City. Me just want to bring this to the attention of all Sierra Unions for say we don't need outside evaluation for tell we say we do bad. We don't do bad for 59 years and we continue to do bad. The Ghana, the Rwanda, the Malawi, the Tanzania, they go with they admire. They know they take people that we know productive, we know get the sabi and put them in a position in there for function. Like what Emerson say, you know, go give what you not get. So until we politicians them, the one that when we take, say we let them manage we affairs until them begin think productively, progressively, things go happen. But until then, trust me, it will continue for good on. The 20% rate will they grow. They say Ebola come. You want to tell me, say, if institutions were strong enough, were in place, you want to tell me, say, will not be forget chance for balance back and grow? But it not happen because, one, we not get things in place. We go make we strong and grow. So we go continue for fail until we people them. Needless to say, the percentage of people them when they talk say, oh, the one they waiting at the diaspora and then they holler and then they holler. The one they when with people them with the back home, let them forgive me. They don't know. They don't know, and nobody know they make them know. Nobody know they keep them at the know. So how you go even say something when you don't know what they go on? Mr. Bassi, I will tell you plenty thank you. Your idea when you get is so grandiose. But you know what thing? What make you not go put that rest in production there? Let it be something will be your own legacy. Other than because not to your party, so it not go happen, you'll begin think patriotically. Now that is no more me get for say. Thank you so much. And I thank you already in that panel there for una time because it takes time. Not for everybody they make them sacrifices and they I tell you thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much, Madam Bendo, because I need to make Mr. Allen go. Mr. Bassi, trust me, when I come back, I go make you answer. But I need to release Mr. Allen, make himself go sleep. He don't cry, don't do well for we. As Mr. Jasmine, they take over. But Mr. Allen, before you go, I want for make you give your departing words. And then I go take over from, I go carry my next question with Mr. Jasmine as they come in.
Okay. I want to thank all the people that we don't call. Then they'll make some very, very good points. And I want to go back to some of the things that, Mr. Bassi didn't talk about. One of the frustrations the way you can get, where you can sit down to do then debates here. Now, the sort of arguments the way people like hide behind. So Mr. Bassi don't talk a lot about the GDP numbers. But we all know, say, GDP, if you like, now the total output of the country. So when we talk about the GDP per capita income,
right?
The reality, if we say the GDP per capita income now 1,000, and I'm say all nine to get 1,000.
Thank you.
So the reality we know saving that happened during EBK term, during the APC government, is that all that GDP gains the way the APC government they realized, it not really affects the people. Now the 5%, the cronies, the one that we get, good sababu. Now they get the benefits of that GDP growth there. And the point where the first caller make is a very good point because we talk about all that GDP growth there. Anis Koma was in office from 2007 through to 2018. But we not see that GDP growth the way they talk about translate into any meaningful development in any particular industry. So we not see Anis Koma create factories, the way they create jobs. With all that GDP growth, then all we know is that money they just been go to their likes of them Frank Timis, that millionaire we've been on Africa minerals. Where people are not been the benefits from that. So we can talk all this economic theory. A lot of waiting Mr. Bassi don't talk this evening. 99% of the people in SALONE don't even understand and make a connection. Even myself now, so some of the things just to go about over me head, because in a nice, na good talk, na good book talk. And one thing I know about APC and SLPP, then get boku people who can talk good book, then sabi and book. But when it can to show me the reality on the ground, how this why they touch people their lives, how you they lift them up, how then they go from 1 meal a day to 2 or 3 meals a day. Afro-barometer way Mr. Bassi mentioned earlier, one of the things that they came up with in their survey was they said that let me just read this for you. They said 9 out of 10 people will respond to their survey. 9 out of 10. Then they said they go without cash income at least once a year. 43% of the people within the survey, they went without cash income many times or always. So I don't care what you tell them, say the GDP figure is right now. If you not get money, you just not get money. If you pushed out of that SALONE economy, you just pushed out of that SALONE economy completely. One of the big problems in a SALONE and the way we politics work is we've got this economic cake, which is every year the economic cake of Sierra Leone just a shrink. And what you get is a few politicians where they fight for this ever shrinking cake. So when I get politicians that we get the mind say, hang on, now we're in office now, how will they grow this cake, let all man able to participate? What do we do for lift people out of poverty? It's one thing to talk the book. It's another thing to actually do the work we need for be done for improve and better the lives of everybody. You see, the second column makes a very good point. We need to begin calling them as they are. We're not to call things them out when they're out of government. We for the call them be when we set the in government. We for the light on we set young action. We've got a bizarre situation, as Mr. Bassi mentioned. And this, you even need to ask earlier about the international community and perception of the country. We've got a government, then take a minister, then take a deputy minister, and they arrest them for corruption, 50,000 bags of rice. And then this government, the ACC boss, which I would say in a human rights lawyer, he canceled the case. Then they reinstate the 2 people away, then self don't tell we say 50,000 bags of rice. And you expect the international community for put confidence in what we do? We just look like a people away not sober. We really look like a people away not get any idea of how for move we country on. Just this week, Advocate and the Cyrus Vance Institute came out with a survey on our prison service. That's another area where, I'm just bringing that one out because for me, it tells us about the nature of Sierra Leone, the way we treat our vulnerable people. We not get one regard for the most vulnerable people in our society. Cyrus Vance Institute and Advocates say 62% of female prisoners who are in our prisons are being held without trial. Some of these people languish in our prisons for years because in case not they ever come to court, then papers they're not even then the paperwork for them for bringing them to court not even day. We get people that would kill them in future because we want to retain a corrupt system where they benefit a few people. So, but this now 2020, other countries then they say, how we go make progress? What is not the thing the way we for do for make progress? And you know, when you get a country where the enemy is within rather than the enemy is outside, when you get a country where the national outlook is the enemy is within, where we get APC and SLPP, they do me or do you every time, we can never see our way clear in life. We can just never see our way clear in life. You know, one of the things I normally challenge people like Mr. Bassi is this. He's an SLP, he's an APC man. You know, I said to people like him, you know, he lives in America, I live here. We probably face a similar set of challenges each and every day. We probably get picking them, they get picking them like me. You get mortgage like me. You get all them things. So in everything, if you think about it, we get similar backgrounds and similar issues we would face. But when it comes to that saloon politics, where we for bring we energies together for make things work for the better of saloon, we busily use with time and effort to better other countries. But when we cancel, let me put down the for make things work in a saloon. Now you know say, oh, that one day in a Mende, that one day in a Timini, that day in a Creole boy, we're not the mix there. You see, we need for change this approach because in order to do anything for Ion Pikinda, in order to do nothing for Mion Pikinda, and in order to do nothing for the young boy there and the young girl in at all. We get forget truthful and honest conversations, which is why I thank you for allowing me to be on just for giving us this short time, and I hope I'll be able to join in the future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alan Luke. And now, Jasmed, Zubairu, if you are on, contact Jasmed. Ayeri say been then at the waiting room, but he left the waiting room. So Jasmed, we're waiting for you to come on. Mr. Alan will bid you farewell, even as we wait for Mr. Jasmed for come on. You can take your leave at any time. And now I come to Mr. Bassi, where I know say is anxiously waiting to get his in there. But Mr. Bassi, you say something, and even as you give your response, I want to ask you this question. And even before I ask you this question, I want people to go back to my former statement. I did not say, SALONE be make 20.7 GDP now 2013. I said estimated, projection. It was projected. Projected, when we for saying an anticipation.
Thank you.
An anticipation, a vision based on waiting the trends where they don't see so far. Now the previous years, now that make them project that. I'm not saying I saw it be. I saying a projection. I don't know how to talk against F na Creole. They see and far. Where you see something far, so then call and then see and far. Now see and far business have been the talk about. Now, even as we wait for Mr. Jasmed Suma for make a log back on and join we. The phone lines are open again. Anybody from the SLPP camp, you're welcome to call in the phone lines. You're welcome to, if you we log in, you're welcome for logging directly and join the conversation, even as we wrap up in the next hour, because we don't come a little over an hour now. We then so the final hour. Mr. Bassi, you say something. You say if a government not analyze the problem.
Yep.
You know, if a government not know how to analyze the problem, how we gonna know how to find solution? To me, my question to you is, before there was an SLPP government, there was an APC government. So if we find ourselves in a situation where, you know, our policies are not aligned internationally, with policies they're not the benefits we. for then at the international front, for get heavyweights, for be heavyweights at the international front, and for make it work for the SALONE people them. Don't you think the past government is equally to blame because they're not putting structures and sound policies them in place internationally we go benefit we locally, and that is why we have this disparity of 80-1, and this 80-1 disparity is not something novice, not a something new. Now something we done they go on, we've been done they go on even from the past governance structure. So to say 80-1 currently, I think it is rather unfair in the sense that the past government, because they say governments na heredity, governments na continuity. If the past governments will not put sound policies them in place, sound structures them in place, wouldn't it have been that this government would just have had to continue implementing those policies and putting us forward and lounging us forward instead of trying to reinvent the wheel right now or trying to fabricate or develop something new? That is my question to you.
Thank you, Matilda, once again. Let me just digress a little bit, make a just, buttress something quickly that will come to a question.
Sure.
Make us start with Mr. Alan, we just left we also feel him. You understand? Because like the young gentleman, it talks one thing we in all land boards, SALONE people they now book and this and that, but we come to the actual implementation. Now, I mean, the only candidate we challenge everybody in Sierra Leone and even in the diaspora and prove me wrong. You understand? Me a problem-solving oriented personality. Currently, I work with the United States Postal Service. They loan me as a proxy for work with the census. By next week, I will be out of my state. Do you know why? They have records. They know. Are they also one of the youngest person in the history of Sierra Leone? Now the diaspora where become an acting chief finance officer in a reputable organization, Universal Medical Services in the United States. I act there, I change everything. Because then we get a proxy fight, everything fall. Within 6 months, I told a multi-million-dollar company, a young man, they go through the university. By then, at the Tudor financial reporting. People don't know the Tudor, like they teach students then. Financial reporting. Now they identify, they go to the Department of Academic Excellence, then request an accountant who will go help them. Now in then choose me a black man in the capacity as the chief finance officer. Now that they then fire the chief executive officer, the CEO. I acted in that capacity. In 6 months, I turned the entire company around. I'm a problem solver. When I work with Metronics, now me na the young man this, if we don't ever hear this, we come up with the LG formula for catheter. People already use catheter. The LG formula. This is the basic camera. We come up with the formula for ensure sales and do. I do what we call the probabilistic calibration. That's a big word. But I want for let me start Alan, if you watch, let us say this is a young man. This now the young man with a grade A. Now Sierra Leone, a record where nobody no ever gets in the history of Sierra Leone with the young killer and everything. A, they audit me, the best auditing firm in the world, PricewaterhouseCoopers, audit basic camera 21 times in 6 years. I had A's in all. Now me come up with the formula of the enablers package will benefit the old Sierra Leone, the 140 chiefdoms.
Okay,
so yes.
Mr. Happy, I know one for coach you, and I know say you get a lot of achievements them and whatnot. We all get with personal achievements.
I come. I say 2 minutes.
I just want to make we stick to the question. Even I think so you don't lay a strong foundation of your achievement and why they say waiting you, they say, and why you get the grits.
Yeah.
They're waiting you, they say, but I just want to make you go to the question just so save time and really help the Sierra Leonean people them where we so for help.
All right. Can you please repeat the question again?
So basically, my question was, in your previous statement, you said that if you do not have the capacity to analyze the problem, how can you find solution? And you also give the 80-to-1 ratio, like, the disparities in income gap, the 80-to-1 ratio. So my question to you was, government, they say it's a continuity. Now you cast the blame on this current administration for say if they not get the grits, they not get the know-how, they not get the master sabi people them for even identify the problem, how they go even prefer solution. Now me they say because now international policies and international team them we they talk about, and they say the past government was there. What were the policies of the past government? A government where obviously you identify to a party where you identify with if they may not put in place sound structures, sound policies, then we go safeguard we frontiers, we go safeguard and make sure say SALONE benefits and gets the best of everything, and SALONE not go be cheated out of anything, and that we get structures them where we go make sure say inside SALONE everybody go there at equal par, and even within the international community where they see with policies then and see how they implement with policies then go gladly for join and with we. If in 11 years, if the past government, if they may not put in place their structures there, so you fail to say the fumble or the problems them where we the experience right now with the current government, we feel to say we for the experience that kind of problem there. So because if the structures were in place, then go just implement the structures them we already don't put in, we already don't they in place. So to say the 80-to-1, the 80-to-1 is not a new thing, because the 80-to-1 is a lived reality, or was a lived reality even within the APC regime.
Thank you very, very, very much. Let me go direct to the question, because it's a make and not digress whatsoever. Government's not a continuity. We don't emphasize this, right? The people of Sierra Leone, according to records, voted the APC out of power because APC, they believe, they not deliver to the level of their satisfaction. We all know the one day. When the SLPP made the campaign, JJ Blood, when I JJ Safa, it make them categorically clear, and that's not a fundamental statement. I use the word fundamental statement because it's all over, that then go turn the economy within 6 months. Eating, right? So waiting that one, they tell you exactly. It tell you exactly, say, APC lost focus, APC not get the strategy for convert the economy based on waiting them, we don't project. They cannot do anything anymore. So the yes and all answer, they in the hands of the SLPP. So if now vote we in, we be able to turn the economy in 6 months. The bread and butter we go ensure so we provide job opportunity for all and sundry. This now waiting them they propagate during the campaign. They make them clearly, and the people buy into that. The people now do a comparative analysis between the current administration and waiting the SLPP may they talk by then. So say, all right, now if the SLPP say they can turn the economy within 6 months, of course we can put we faith on them. Let's give them a try and let them come on board. So when would they do this fail, a comparative analysis, and not they work that way? If you are not a CEO, you don't control this company for a very long period and find out, say, you're not able to bounce beyond this level where you did. You don't try with all your strategy. You don't come with policy. You cannot go before. If them put it there, then bring back the camera. What do you expect? The company, the board of the company, then they expect Basi Camara for turn the company around so that we go begin to make more profits than before. So let me put them into a context and try to analyze this in real local situation. APC don't dey in governance for 10 years. The people say, no, we cannot give them any other chance for make them navigate further. We they kick them out because we feel, say, they not do enough. Let's bring people them where they believe say then I must sabi people them. They go come with sound policies them. Then go ensure say the bread and butter available for all and sundry. Then go diversify the economy. And then go even translate economic growth to economic development where it go reflect in the lives of the ordinary Sierra Leonean. That happen and not happen. So again, the DLC, concept came into existence. Where you talk about deception, lie, and cover up. Now this all they do. So if you they ask me the policies the way there are policies. There are policies. And those policies are sound. When they come and kick on. What about the GL mining, SL mining? When they kick away, they say because of bad contract. You cannot kick somebody because of bad contract. You cannot do that. You cannot terminate a contract where they don't do this. You can't do that. Then because they are not business minded or they are not business oriented. They don't know what they do. So the same question come, in MENA and information specialist. When you identify problem, you define a problem, you assess them, or get what we call a probabilistic calibration, where they use forecasting for able to analyze trends and patterns. They just jump into it. Now this then fail for do the mistake. They make anything they do, then they fail miserably. You get to understand the feedback loops. These are some of the things they look into, like the brother and CEO, when an economist. It go tell you when you talk about data points, they try for do something like time series. What do they look for? They look for outliers.
Okay.
Outliers then at the camp. The outliers then now this is the way they deviate. And when you deviate, you look what we call the feedback loop for come back into the trend, redefine what you do, and try for ensure say your strategic objective where you seek for achieve. They in conformance, with the structure where you put in place. We put all the things in place. The APC put on what they can then nullify everything. The Mama airports and all the promises they make. There is no foundation, nothing. The Lunge Bridge, the bread factory, the diagnostic center. These are all lies and deception. So they don't get anything. They just come no more for rob the people of Sierra Leone. Of course, APC, we know we're 100% perfect. But some of the money then what we use when they say, okay, the income will get to the 20% increment in this. You see a lot of roads all over the country. You see hospitals there. When we build the structures, them and everything before they come. Also, APC stop when they come, they're not able to do nothing until the witchcraft policy concept when they come with the free and quality education. It's a witchcraft because then picking go. What's in a witchcraft? If you cook, say that you shall be cook, then they give you husband or your fiancé, they say like picking on eater, another man picking it for eater. Then you're a witch. Now the same thing that happen. They say free quality education. Then picking and not go. They all are private school. So okay. What is it?
Thank you very much.
So they fail miserably. It's not APC. Let them come up with something. We started from nothing when APC took over the Kaba administration. We see exactly where we meet, how we put modality in place, and we begin to navigate. It is knowledge that is missing. Leadership is missing. I am a problem-oriented person.
Okay, so, Mr. Gets waiting you to talk, and the audience don't get waiting you to talk. I know I will digress into national issues, like I said.
Thank you.
International and how they affect national wise. I don't want to talk what's the inside the Kotoku now for the next episode, and then we go inside the Kotoku. For now, before we go inside the Kotoku, we need for open the Kotoku, and the Kotoku for open them we they start internationally. I want to welcome Mr. Jesmed Suma. Mr. Jesmed, tell Fambul them Adu, and I go bring you right into the conversation as soon as you tell Fambul them Adu.
Fambul Adu, thanks for having me.
Okay, so the Mr. Jesmed Suma aspirant for the NGC, I believe you.
No, then let me make the correction on that. I'm no longer an aspirant for the chairmanship of the NGC party.
Okay, so
I'm the national organizing secretary of the party.
Okay, so Mr. Jesmed Suma currently now the national organizing secretary of the party. So he's no longer an aspirant for the chair, but he is the national organizing secretary. So to the technical team, please take note of that and make that correction there. Thank you, please, and thank you very much. Mr. Jesmet Suma, I don't know if you've been done to follow the conversation online even before you join. But basically, I know say you know the topic we talk about have the current administration made lasting gains for Sierra Leone within the international community. The question where I want to ask you right away is World Bank International Development Assistance credit to Sierra Leone go in the tune of $411.46 million, and then get grants will go in the tune of IDA international assistance in the tune of $34.06 million. Now, if Sierra Leone is to thrive, if Sierra Leone is to emerge and stand on its feet, and really for make the international community, for make the international actors then take Sierra Leone seriously, how long can we sustain these grants and these credit assistance?
First of all, the government inherited a very, very terrible economy from the previous inept, despotic leadership of Ernest Bai Koroma. That is a fact. But all the people that have been run, know this fact and then come up with the pledge say that we're able to fix the problem. But having an intimate knowledge of the economy of the country is one. Having the moral foundation and the character where it takes for Lego fix them is another. So the current power government know exactly what the nature of the problems of our country, but they lack the moral character for letting go able for fix them, and the same come with the same level of greed we don't manifest itself within the system of governance over the past several decades in Sierra Leone. Now, that comes to specifically to your question. With debt ratio been there around 62.9% to the GDP when the power parent take them up, it don't increase to 71.4% with the power at this current stage.
About 9.1%.
Now, what does that mean? The global economic prediction or analysis say a country, the safe boundary where you suppose for the in terms of your debt to GDP ratio is 60%. If you go beyond 60%, and that is for developed nations, for developing countries like Sierra Leone is 40% to your GDP. If you go beyond 40% to your GDP, it is not sustainable. I'll give you an example. The current economic quagmire we find ourselves right now, we as a nation were able for finance with stimulus and able for recover from the current economic situation we will find ourselves if only we do one thing: suspend debt payment. All the loans that were an escromatic all the past 11 years, we mortgage the economy. You get looters them, then distribute munku motaman they will not be for no voting for do with the money. And it's 50% the money to then girlfriend them. Then destroy the economy of SALONE. Then the power part and can add on top that. If they not been take them debt then they right now, like SALONE government for they save a minimum of $200 to $300 million every year. But now we can't save that because all the looting that we don't have over the past 11 years, we go for pay that service that debt day. Now, if our economy is to recover, Solution number one, and I want to be very clear about this. Solution number one is to make sure, say, the IAMP them will lay the foundation to the destruction of the economy for the past 50 to 60 years. Within them two rotten institutions they are, APC and SLPP. Any Sierra Leonean will really mean well for that country, for make sure say them two people in the 2023 they not smell power. If you mean well for the economy, but if you're not a slave psychologically to them two institutions and then this what they talk no go mean nothing. The future of the nation no go mean nothing to you. The economy of the country no go mean nothing to you. When the power and take power, then talk say then go can help create job. About 2 years now to 3 years, the only job they don't create a job for their own self inside the government. The government don't expand by 10 to 5% since we then take over. And as Kuruma increase the government size by 75% when it take over. So the government don't become the employment agency for them party they are. When they take over, instead of them invest in the economy, create the private sector job, broaden the tax base, so the tax burden will be less on individuals, so that everybody go share into when you win. Let me put it this way. If you get 100 businesses, they sustain the economy. A government way smart, it increase that one to 1,000 businesses. So that then burden then the way the 100 businesses they undertake, it will be spread out. And where businesses then spread out, what thing they happen, innovation they come in, jobs they go create, export go increase, production go increase, the economy go be stable. But when then guy come, what thing then do? Then clease agency na agency yanda, commission yanda, commission that. All the one and then they fill them up with their own jelly. And take the fringes of APC jelly map, then sit down with the emptiness, then they defend the rottenness of an Eskuruma in administration, where it destroy the economy of the country. Because Maui understand economics, the basic fundamentals of economics. No go look at Eskuruma and mess up with economy. He snap with a straight face and defend now and day. Now Lord come to the paupers. These guys, the same greed will control Seka Stevens, the same greed will manifest inside Momo, the same greed will dominate an Eskuruma administration. Now that same greed themselves don't take over. Where you see the bedrock of corruption, na SALONE. I see president sick, na they go seek help. But how long panda one day? We don't go to build your own health sector. We get people that we get brains, na Sierra Leoneans them. We understand how to fix the economy of other country them. Where they run medical institutions around the world. But they can't go home for go fix their own economy. Because politics don't mess up the system. They can't go home for go build institutions like hospitals and run in America and England and other side and around the world. Because the rottenness of the politics of the nation. Until we get these politicians out of our life and bring in a transformational leadership like the likes of Dr. Kande Koloyumkela, like the National Grand Coalition, SALONE will never move forward. Never move forward.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Now, la conclude by making this assessment the way you fix the economy of a country. It's simple and straightforward. The first fundamental thing we need for do is for reduce the debt to GDP ratio. The GDP na the amount of wealth we create, just like Papa na house. That Papa na in house, it make 10 millions a year. That 10 million a year now get for running household. So we own GDP and the amount of money where government, where the nation, the country they generate. Now, if pan tap that money the way they generate, you they spend plenty past the 10 million. You they spend past the 10 million. So they spend 17 million. That 7 million day, you get for go trust them. Until you reduce your expenditure, you match your production, your output, you know ever progress. So waiting a transformational government need for do. Reduce the size of government, reduce the level of agencies that want to contribute to the lives of people, invest in social services, for make the people able for save more, because whether you rich or poor, if you sick, you got to go spend. Man we get money, go and bank take. Poor man go get for go sell property for let go fix. If he fix healthcare, that poor man you don't save him, you know go sell him property again. You go sell for go take care of health. Public transportation. If man come off free to go, you say na 50,000-60,000 leons for ticket for go bo. That man they desperate you want go bo or want transport in goods and come bo in Gary Cam. Money man go na bank bring cam. Poor man you go for do all kind of things, sell something for go for make that transportation day. That money they put and pantap the Gary, the bag of Gary go and 300,000 leons. If a government invests in public transportation, you don't help that poor man day. You don't save money for them. Not to forget take money in a government, you dish them out to government employees. Now you save the economy. You are increasing expenditure. Reduce the fringe benefit of members of parliament. 90% of them know they control nothing where they benefit the lives of people. Reduce the amount of money when they spend for going to UN conferences. Reduce the fringe benefit of government employees, especially the 10% up of the agencies. Invest in social services. And that is the same level of transformational leadership Dr. Kande Koliyo Mukela will bring into Sierra Leone in 2023. Because focusing on the lives of the people is the priority of the National Grand Coalition. All the while, then they focus on themselves. We don't see example after example, generation after generation, government after government, then come in and they wear have back. Now some man in the way before they go into power. But they tell you in the commodity are gold shoes in the way. Gold shoes. Who's that money they come out? Public funds. We own system of government there. No checks and balances not there. Because the parliamentarians and the executive branch, then they partner with one another and dish the treasuries among them. Where parliamentarian one cough, government increase in salary, increase in fringe benefits. So a government they see parliamentarians say, I know they talk again. Because that's that $40,000-$50,000 what they make every year. And that is true. That is about what they make. $40,000 to $50,000 when you include in salary and fringe benefit. Members of parliament, some will not be a bit from a bull's foot. Then they make. Why don't go talk? Because in the afraid say if you then talk, the government go begin put pressure on that side and they. So then put we at their masses. Then they dish the treasury money among themselves.
Okay.
Judiciary no gets no protection. Now parliament supposed to protect the judiciary against the overreach of the executive branch. But when the executive branch and the parliamentarians are in the same cahoot, the judiciary they are their mercy. So the judiciary self-compromise. Then they call on 3 branches of government. Okay. Yeah, let 2023 Kaleru people and can bring in some kind of sober government at the country. Lord, fix the lives of people.
Mr. Suma, I want to open the phone line and take the last 3 calls and then come back to Mr. Bassi, get them for respond, and then we're going to round up the program very soon with my last few questions. So I will go straight to the phone lines again, take 3 calls, no more. Sorry, we fumbled them. If on a boku wait, but not only 3 calls I go able to take as of this moment on. Okay, so the caller is lost. We don't lost the call. With that, because I want to give the panelists them time for trash out them, touch them. They close the phone line for today. I'm sorry. As soon as I know, I make a call out, a call of appeal for SLPP supporters or members or affiliates or associates for come out and for say whatever they get for say. But I noticed the comment thread, there's a heated debate going on the comment thread. So it's just that it would have been beneficial if una come out and say for the many listeners and viewers them okay, I see we have one caller on the line. I will take that call because the callers themselves now contributing, partners. I go take the caller. I go take the 3 calls. Absolutely, I will. Caller, waiting. Are your name? Who say the call from?
You get me loud and clear. This is Mike. I come from Seattle, Washington.
Yes, Mike. Finally, we get Mike Berwa on the line. And definitely, they represent the SLPP side for sure. As a matter of fact, he should have been one of the panelists tonight, but work prevent him for come. So I'm really happy where you call. Mike, I go give you your due time for say what you get for say. I'm not going to put you on the clock just because I want to make you get enough time for respond to waiting you need for respond to, because I know say you don't watch the show all throughout. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, sister. First of all, I just want to say sorry. I'm not able to catch up with work and everything, just like you rightly said. And I hope next time maybe I will get a chance for the part of the program, because we do things to educate people. My sister Basi, they talk about they try to show off, showing self, say get PhD, this and that. But I never see APC employer apply on finance minister, or they even employ like directorate of finance for building the economy. The other person, my brother, Mr. Suma, I just want to tell him plenty thank you. He seems to be a guy of knowledge. Even though he be sway and not say they talk about say SALONE, the only person who will move SALONE will be from that Dr. Kande Yunkele. I want to start with them. I want Mr. Suma no say, all the problems the way I like Sierra Leone. I mean, it's true. But the problem with Sierra Leone is we get what we call a diversion and poverty in that country. Why make us say so? Even if we take the government take one bag rice, the hibab, everybody into put every month with oil. People will still grumble in that country. They say they don't get they don't get pepper, they don't get gas, they don't able to afford them because people are poor. We are poor in that country as a state that we live in standard day below $2 a day. That is how poor we are. And one of the key problems, even though with all them policies, they already address this and that, so they talk on ideologies, so they talk on a book, so they do this, so they do that. The key thing in that country they will for address, not for invest in human capital. When we invest in human capital, nobody knows the way they have a government. Everybody they create job for himself. See, we are going at a rate we are in. I mean, the level of inflation at that level, it's so down that people not able to even choose good leaders. People not even able informed. People not even know how the government works. People not even know how to create wealth for themselves. People not even know, because that's a government that creates everything. Even the advanced countries they are all day. Hello, you get me, Mama?
Yes,
No,
yes. With all the listen,
okay. Even the advanced countries they are all day. Brothers and sisters, what's the way I am? Now much entities or private sectors or institutions and they would have government own? Most of them are what? They're created by people. Like the Google, the Escom Mobile, the what? The Facebook, the GM Motors, all them things, they are them big corporations where they employ lots of people. The Starbucks, the Nordstroms, these are all owned by people. So we country need the greatest 2 things why they try to say in that country. They want a public health emergency in that country now. Corruption. And what? Investing in the human capital of that country. And that's this government decide for them. I don't want to go into all the economics, all that, because right now I'm not getting data, so they don't give me. I don't want for complete figures when it comes to about extended credit facility, all them things there. But me tell you what they look at here. The greatest achievement we don't do in that country now, we are in what? For make sure say there is free and quality education. Even though people say, okay, then free and quality education, let them begin and candy. But the free and quality education at primary school level, most of the ministers are already in SALONE, and picking another than they. They're not the oversee you. Pass the one that them pull over, see how we go work. When they not go pull them family, I can go because a lot of things and they wouldn't go to do now. They go get house, they go get mortgage. You not go just move your family, go no more as Sierra Leone. So at the time they will get a family and then they under. Yes, free and quality education. Now 2 years this government don't come. You can't bring free and quality education. You just talk say, oh, we get for the quality in internet services, get for them now all the schools them, then get for the teaching beginning now with how you call a hybrid and curriculum. No, that may not get for this. But one of the things that what a great achievement, we all as a nation for accepted, school enrollment don't increase. Now, a crime in that country, they say, when you born picking, you for send a school, you don't get a reason for keeping a house. You for send a school. So there is a huge increase in school enrollment. Now, that's make government, one of we brother mentioned, I don't know, Abbas mentioned, I say government and continuity. All the investment that will be able to talk so, not a short-term investment, not long-term. Maybe even within your next 10 of office, you know, for see all them achievements that will be put in place. It will take about 10 years, 15 years before we see the achievements and then picking out whether they don't go to college, whether they don't learn science, information, technology, medicine, and they will come, then broaden the base, the economic base of our country, then create their own businesses. But take a look at Sierra Leone as a whole. We are even poorly educated. People that go to that country, people that in that country, they wouldn't go to school. They're not even go study thing where they say, well, they can't work. They will go study peace and conflict. Some man they go study geography. Some man they just go college because they want to go college. They will not get guidance, will not get policies in place. 11 years of APC rule in that country was less. If any Sierra Leone not accept that, they will not let that country. If 11 years, take the people then they die for generator, then they die for light. What they talk about roads. What the roads say? What the roads say? You don't know clothes, you know they make drainage. You know they see how flooding they take place na SALONE. Sierra Leone, everywhere when the season comes, Sierra Leone spend over 400 million per waiting flood mitigation.
Mike,
what is government kind of increase? Yes.
Mike, okay, make I hold you this small because I think say you they digress to national issues. When national issues now for next week we want keep them. I really want focus on international.
Okay, let me just go to international.
What we made
international.
If
you take a look, Matilda, if you take a look at the records that are coming from the reports that are coming from IMF, WHO, you take a report and where they come out from IDB. You take out the records and where they come out AFDB, the African Development Bank, and all that. They're all the talk say the policies the Modi's government put in place, so Sierra Leone put in place. If them stay on them policies there, the country is on the right trajectory to economic recovery. Not only the same thing there. Look them up. That is why they trust this government. That is why then they give money to this government. During APC and Esbaikoma in time, they flows all money for Canada country. But also you don't see Jaran, Koro election time and they save money in the street to give people them to go vote. International agencies they freeze. That's why they announce austerity. Austerity na money no day. We add up. King Tranga, that's another day. Then froze international donors, then froze funding in that country based on policies. They call it egregious corruption. That the right word and the word they use. Now they report to them too. The World Bank report. What is government don't can? The first thing what is government try to do is to build with international relations with people. That's why the president is flying all over the place. For build with international relations. Then I say this is a new Sierra Leone. This is a new direction. We mean good. We have policies in place. We want to make sure say every Pekin and every girl Pekin in that country they go to school. This is the policy. We want to make sure say people then pay their taxes. Where governments don't come in place. The reason why people that go now say right now Tintranga, yes, Tintranga. I don't deny say Tintranga. Especially with the COVID, whose country they right now we're dependent. Every country they get contracted inflation right now. Every country in economy contracted. France, Australia, even America, all over. Even how you call them, UK, all over. But if you look at the way this government manage the economy with all the COVID way they so, we still get, even though things are hard, but we still get enough rest. People that feel say, oh, people for to line for rest, so COVID don't come, people go to suffer, people then go to die in the street. But offices are open, things are going on smoothly. It's hard. Then the CPA workers then and go delay 1 or 2 days. Yes, but it is going. The government will run. The government will fail it. So now we give this government time. You can compare a 2-year government with an 11-year government. If put one fire, tell you pull and you got to pin and dump for like coal, Matilda. You can compare. Well, sometimes they compare all this, or they compare all the. You can compare. You can even compare what the achievements of the government. They tell anyone to compare PRL. Compare government APC 2 years of government. Internationally, compare this government with APC 2 years of government. When you have international relationship, when you talk about how we image them become respectable in the international world, compare that. Don't compare this and this. And when we brother the talk and say, can they come shape this country because of international? Well, before can they go UN? My brother, Salone don't join UN before can they even bond us. People that never work, Sierra and never work for UN, we pass can they? The likes of them, James Donner, even the vice presidents, go and look at in the record. They work like United Nations. Go and look at the record. So people that they come talk, oh, can they? Me can they ever vote for that country? When you talk about patriotism, if can they really like that country, the UN the holiday to people the elections can and countries for let them go vote. Can they have never voted in Sierra Leone? That in one can rule Salone. Can they not even get host than that country? Can they indeed some already they do? Now what's in? When Nigeria will do indeed say in Camp Peking, now Nigeria money married. Indeed some all Nigeria will do. Can there is no need to the politics of Sierra Leone? Can they have served as minister for SLPMD? The whole NGC cabal, we don't talk about the one within the diaspora, but the whole NGC cabal from number 1, number 5 to Dr. Judebi was an SLPP. IJ Kaba was an SLPP. If I just disgruntled people, what is stand for lead SLPP, where SLPP not give them chance, where they go from their own party. You see that it was evident at 6%, and I will tell you, say, can they will never rule Sierra Leone with an NGC flag? Realistically, it's not going to even happen. The statistics it's not even possible. So long they talk about something, Matilda. Now we look at who Salone the go. Now we look at how we image them become so respectful at the international community. Now we look at the policies.
Mike. Okay, so because
Union is corrupt.
Mike, I don't want to hold the show for too long because I promise say I go take the last 3 call and I want to stay true to my word. I think say I don't give you enough time for expound on for talk about some of the things them or achievements them where you feel say this governments don't make. And my question was very specific. My question was that waiting. If I say, have the current administration made lasting gains for Sierra Leone in the international community? I know they compare the past administration and the current administration. My focus was
I will tell you so we don't make lasting gains. I just tell you. I mean, we don't regain trust. The kind of money where they go to that country, the kind of money where they go to the country. Nobody knows the way they invest in anything, in order for yield dividends too. The kind of money where they go to that country, they foster trust. The kind of money where they go not to all countries and they give money. What COVID came up and Corona cannot all countries and then they help. Not all countries and we all don't see how countries and they help, how countries and they come. So with international relationship we are building on it. Sierra Leone not there again whether they say you look at the more corruption index will come out when an international report will come out. I mean Sierra Leone during Anet by Koma, we are the most corrupt country in the world. That image we don't shape them up. We are no more the most corrupt country in the world. We don't improve in corruption. We don't game scores them. We don't ever pass the Millennium Corporation, the MCC card, the Millennium Corporation. We don't ever pass them during an micromind term. Now when we come where they talk about governance, they talk about rule of law, they talk about gender equity. Where these governments come, we see them when they go launch a DSTI, where the ambassador, Maria, the ambassador for Sierra Leone, American ambassador to Sierra Leone, we go give the scorecard, Salone pass by 70%. So we are improving. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to happen just overnight. Development is progress. If APC don't put the foundation, if like Adam Suma talk, they're not be done tiff them Kurundo, all the economy. Like now, on a different thing they talk. But the people then tiff all thing. Then creep all the crowd and also report. One crowd therefore well report first before put them back in the fire. So let people be at this government. This government mean good for that country. Then get the right people in governance. The caliber of people that were there around you, no government not ever get the caliber of people them. So let them give this government time. Let them judge president be also gonna judge me after the time in terms of office done. So you know we compare 2-year government and 11-year government. I thank you, Matilda, for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, Mike Brewer, you're not able to come on live, but I think say if on one judge me fairly and judge the show fairly, I give him the time we need for answer. He come in and answer in the, you know, in the position as somebody knowledgeable, very working in very close relation with the current government. He don't give the young position and he say, you know, make we give the government time, and that yes, indeed, the government, they make lasting gains within the international community. It don't name a lot of different in them. I know say me panelists them, they catch them for talk, but when I go get for whole una much small, make I close the phone line properly, and then I go give una time for respond and give una final closing statements them. Caller waiting at your name and who say you call from. 2 minutes, please.
Yes, listener Harun Zubayu, again, Miss Matilda, I miserably apologize because I'm not being able to show up on the show today. But I want to say thank you to Mr. Jesmet Suma. You were excellent. Even you come late, you were perfect. I wish you could only when everything starts. And I will say kudos to Mr. Alan Luke. These are the NGC people and where they come and where they stand for the people of SALONE. I'm not good too much, we can only get 2 minutes. Where Mike Brewer talked about corruption, we fumbled them. 122 billion leones today disappear in our government. Today, the Auditor General, they look inside that money they go. When Mike Brewer, they talked about corruption, 49,000 bags of rice lost in the country today. We don't know inside that thing. We don't go back to the APC. APC, they minister them. Then they pay them $5,000 a month. When the average person not even make $100. Then we go back to APC. One traffic light can spend over $500,000 for one traffic light. So I don't want to let people forget this. Even the same Lagatilla where they investigate SLPP them say APC thief money too. Let me talk about the life of the people in today. I will give one example way so bad. Pepe, just last March, now be 700 leons. Today, now 7,000 leons. 7,000 leons. This now how they talk. But this debate can continue to go. I'm sorry I'll not be able to participate, but the next time we will come and shed the light. And if you now listen to Mike, it keep they repeat the same old. So as Mr. Bassi, then they regurgitate something they don't come and can't tell people in the eyes of the public. We in our NGC go talk the truth or go let Mr. Jesmet Suma just finish them for me. I thank you all very much for making our talk this evening. We all did our work, and I make able to participate. But God bless you, Ms. Matilda.
That's okay. Next week, Friday, part 3, go continue by God in power. God give we all well body and long life. And inside part 3, we get for look inside the Kotoku, we mean say we get for look inside SALONE proper. The gains, failures, gaps, lacks, everything we get for Tonuba. Turn her inside, turn them out, we get for look inside all team. But I go to my last caller for tonight. Caller waiting at your name and who say you they call from. Hello, caller.
Yeah.
Hello, caller.
Hello, caller. I call from the United Kingdom.
Okay. Dear, is your voice small for we, so we go able to hear you.
Yes, I call from the United Kingdom. I just say thank you to Miss. Mr. Suma, he don't get the information. He's very correct for Surrounding. The SLPP or the APC, then they know for Paul. I hope with time we will carry people that will go able to actually bring this sense in other country. But anyway, I'm glad it's more. I'm an electrical engineer by profession. I don't know UK for a while now. But we pray that with the electricity, we don't be going as Surrounding as how they say from village to village. Now we see say there are systems there in place. We actually go able to power our country. With the power we go able to in our country, I feel say we'll be able to do investment or we not go actually depend on government. You see, so that I'm more happy for Mr. Suma. When I continue for press, if we continue for press, we'll go win. I tell you now, all plenty thank you. I will continue for actually contribute to Sierra Leone as Sierra Leone will come out. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you too. Bye.
Thank you very much, caller. Fumble them, the phone line don't close for today. And within the next few minutes, I will give me guests then time for respond to some of the calls, the comments, and whatnot. But Mr. Bassi, I will begin with you. Even as you respond to, I will give you 10, make you respond first to any comments, any whatever way you want. But please, I will give you 2 minutes for do that. If you're able, make them tight, make them brief in 2 minutes, succinct to the point for respond.
All right, thank you very much, Altilda, once again. Make I go quickly. Just Mamid Suma, I think this is not the third time we will meet now. Yeah, he come up with some kind of analysis, and those analyses then they are disputes with some of them. But as you say, we can forget another extension of this program. We will deal with them nationally, and that make another go national and internationally go. So I know they talk anything about the economy of Sierra Leone. I get them, and I want to make people do not mislead the public. I'm not a PhD holder. Do you know for correction and for the records? A candidate, a doctoral candidate pursuing my PhD in the area of finance. So
Make it clear again. Yes. Just saying what Mr. Bassi they say he's not a PhD holder. He is a candidate. We mean for say, the degree of PhD not actually conferred upon it. It's still they go school. It's still the right, they pursue in papers them in research and in dissertation. Even defend them itself from even for make a degree of such go be conferred upon for say now in a PhD holder. So as of right now, he is a PhD candidate, somebody where they pursue in PhD.
So thank you very much for that clarification. I hope say viewers and listeners will take them in good faith. Then also again, make a respond to Bendu. I don't mean for response with this idea where you get this knowledge where you get why you have for this thing, extend them to the SLPP. Of course, I don't stretch me and forth, then debate on a cabinet, the large-scale commercial family, the blueprint. The only thing, I get the model, I don't expose the model, but I give them the blueprint when I 30 pages, then get 2 sittings, cabinet sittings, and go through the former minister, way now the ambassador to the UN, when Ali Kaba, then debate on them, waiting, come up there, then say, na APC man, this man for and light, we all know him. You understand me? Then it will be a slap on the face. People don't believe in nationalistic something. And I want to let viewers and Sierra Leone know say the climate change under the red program now basically in prepare the budget for the country. We're now $29.8 million. There's only $432. Now me prepare the budget, we go employ 2,049 people. Including design everything. The post-workout proposal around Dr. Peter Toure, they asked me as a consultant for do that. They don't go final a World Bank, but not approve them because of President Trump, when the leader of the free world is against, climate change, believe in that. So he suspend. But me, they pray safe if they reveal a man no give because we know what's in the happen now in Sierra Leone, the selective justice, the tribalism and other things then make them suspend them until the day they come to their senses. So I don't work for Sierra Leone, I don't for go into that. You see, we get for put this deception and hate speech. I find out say when the brother here just made me the talk for try for say the economy, the government expand by 75%. You understand me? It don't show say waiting full of arm na honest by Kuba. Instead of say Mother Bio expand the government by creating a large wage bill, in information, Mother Bio, I mentioned and it's by Chroma. So we get to be very mindful when we do now a public forum like this, the whole world, they listen we. Now you talk about Kande Yom Kela.
So if I know, because me not the moderator and me not somebody who can listen very keenly, I think to Mr. Jesmed Suma in defense, he mentioned both parties, he mentioned both the Anes Baikoma government and the current government as having a bloated cabinet and a very big, bloated budget as well.
Thank you very much for that correction. But the area where I try for bring them back, now in the area when the government expanded by 75%, it is not under the administration of the Kuruma government. Now the Mother Bio administration the one day. So that make a break, because I believe say now oversight or maybe a slip of tongue. They want for call Mother Bio mistakenly say, so now for the records. Now we look in the area of Kande Yom Kela. Let me tell you. You see, we don't overblock this, and Zubalbak don't come in, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you, yes, I mean, the truth.
Okay, so if you can do it in 1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute. Let me tell you the truth. The experience I have as a young man, as a 46 years old young man, I believe I'm second to none. I have church all everywhere in my 23 years working experience. You understand? I've worked in a bank, worked at the private sector, you understand? Work in the public sector, work for companies and everything, both national and international, right? Now, me as a black man in the US, then they consult me for work. As he said, just they say, blah, 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 they make us know. I have to make it known. Kande Yom Kela, emit an established institution with structures, policies, command and control, authorities, and all of them things that so don't put in place. I can add even the Fed with the knowledge I get. You understand? Because decision making is done by consultation. Not to you want anything for this. So now brains that they come together. So they come, hey, Kande Yom Kela don't do that, you need to. He don't do this whatsoever. Now a structure. Let Kande Yom Kela then brand come Universal Medical Services where they break a multi-million-dollar company down. Basi Kamara, a young man in the diaspora from Africa, where nobody know, we turn an institution inside 6 months and make come back. It is. That is who we talk to somebody that solve problem. So when we talk about problem solving mechanism, not a way you don't go meet established organization, you go there, then they begin to blow trumpets all over the places. No. Now, in a situation where they bring you like me, we create the formula for the catheter. If I were a white man, today I should have become a multimillionaire. What did they do? Then just make a head one whole department. And are they even at a G consultation. So at a solve problem, nobody not there are second to none. Approve it in Sierra Leone with 6 years. Yes, the best auditing firm in the world. Audit me in 21 times in 6 years. I had AIDS, good means of health. I set the record. So the young man is there, I am the holy person. I can say this. There are people who are clean to all the mantle of leadership that I consider. I came into the limelight in 2017 for contest because of all the abilities that's what I get and how to transform things. And by virtue of me age and who I am, because my record is second to none. The whole of Sierra Leone, all political leaders. So now let me come out to the point. You understand? When we look international, let me round up.
5 minutes, right? You don't take 5 minutes for answer the question, and I really need forgive Mr. Suma.
All right. Okay.
So we close the show because we're almost running behind schedule,
okay.
and normally the show na 2 hours. I don't want to make it.
I know. All right, that's good.
Mr. Suma, I will give yourself chance for respond to the callers, then comments or any other comments. Again, 2 minutes. So I will ask my final question and get on a closing.
It can't be 2 minutes. You give a man 6 minutes. You give this man 5 minutes. You can give me 2
minutes. Make we not watch the time. I give you 2 minutes, sir. Now me they moderate.
Okay. Well, I consider an insult for Lebashi Kamara even compare himself with Dr. Kande Yom Kela. It's a big insult. I don't even respond to that one day. Now, for the comment and way the other guys make about Dr. Kande Yomukela. You see, what people in the field for realize is that there is a difference between academic accolade, that's not the academic background where you get, the number of degrees where you get. There is a big difference between that and the character of the individual. And the mistakes what they make in a salon, where they allow people and they measure themselves based on academic accolade, and we they forget to examine their character background. You understand? If now for academic accolade, Sierra Leone historically don't get the largest number of PhDs now with government since Second Stephen to now. But yet, out of 47 countries in Africa, we now 43, the poorest, within among one of the poorest 10 countries around the world. So that tells you that the PhDs and the so-called self-praising, like we Bashi Kamara they do, means nothing in terms of solving real problems. You know, offer any practical solution in all the blah blah we don't talk, we go make sense to the average person where they listen to it right now. Kande Yomukela, now the first Black person, African, where they nominate and elect to UNIDO. And he not only be the first, he performed so well that by the second term, nobody no stand against him. It transformed UNIDO, expanding operation, invested in areas around the world, including Sierra Leone, where an eskroma sidon panam. Because he fear say if he implemented UNIDO projects, then they Kande Yomukela go get fame. Pastor, the people of Putloko and then put foot don't say, but no, we on project na Putloko, Bonkalenke. We need to go ahead of time. The project then at the southeast, Moyamba, in the other side, where Kande Yomukela spearheaded for SALONE, and Eskurma Shidon Panam, you not agree implement them. So when you talk about transformational leadership, now one way they meet an institution in one way, improve on to another level. Kande Yomukela gets 10 years of experience. But the most important value where Kande Yomukela they bring into governance, now the character, the moral and ethical foundation where the man they get. Now one of the things and some of we people in the vex and say, hey, the man know they this and that, you know they attack. No, because by the man in nature, not to the typical politician where they go rabble-rouse and talk plenty. He wants stick to fact and truth. Now that way they in the wrong systems. So for let this man they can compare himself, I consider a big insult. I know they even respond to your side of it. Now, coming to the issue about Kande Yomukela in vote. Kande Yomukela, you want to talk say the man not even vote for himself 2018, where the same Kande Yomukela not ever vote. Where that got in comment one. But if me not Kande Yomukela in position, somebody tell me say I know the vote, I go say yes. For the past corrupt years, at least if I not vote for Second Stephen, nobody no go blame me saying I mean make Second Stephen steal SALONE money. I not vote for an eskroma. Nobody no go blame me say I not go be morally responsible for the corrupt system when not introduced in the country. If you dey against one party system, like where Kande Yomukela as a youth of 17 years old, 17 years in Sabo, he put a demonstration together for letting rally against Second Stephen in government. In Dadina, one of the main pioneers them, where advocate against one party system inside SALONE. Second Stephen able for co-opt all the other SLPP man them. Now that one great so man say me, I leave SLPP and I will die SLPP. Second Stephen locked and I jail 5 times. He refused, he stand against Second Stephen. So now that name picking go come. He can begin dancing and treat the vote for one party system. Let desecrate in that grave. Of course, you know good one. Now, because the man been there vehemently against one party system, where you believe in democratic principles, you advocate and advance democratic principles, you know go put yourself in the system and corrupt that system there, you begin to vote for that kind of system there. That is the reason why he didn't vote for Second Stephen. And that is the reason why I believe he will not vote for any system we're rotting in the country.
Thank you very
much. He's a patriot.
Smith,
he don't deliver for institutions them around the world.
Okay, I give you a fair time as well. So there's no complaint there. So now as we wrap up, as soon as they say on a final closing departing statement, then I go give una 3 minutes each for do that. I want to ask una one final question. Mr. Bassi, to you. The 2020 Afro Barometer, the people them of Salone say 64% of them say Salone is heading in the wrong direction. Now, because this na an international barometer, because na the Afro Barometer, not to inside Salone, come on, that make I include an this show. So I am asking again the question I started with. Have the current administration made lasting gains for Sierra Leone in the international community? And if so, how is it translating in the lives of Sierra Leoneans? Your mic day off.
Matilda, viewers and listeners, the way they listen all over the world, let we be honest with ourselves. Lord, we fear God. And the politicking way some people they create, Lord, we put aside. SLPP fail miserably. We all they see, we eye, they're not boss, we understand, and we know exactly what's in the happen. Now, Sierra Leone, could you imagine? They meet sound policies, they meet companies, waiting and do, they come with their own policies, we counter the previous policies them women they then believe say them were able to transform. At the end of the day, look the trend where Sierra Leone they go on. Not to me say this, not to Matilda say this, not to any Gisbert say this, neither the other callers then. This now the international community conduct their own research and then come out and say 65%, because it's about 64.7%. So if we round up, that's 65%. Where categorically say the government know they do the right thing, they know they go in the right direction, people in the suffer, job not there, and everything. But I do believe, say, when we come next week, when we talk about national issue, we go scatter most of them things they are so. And I hope, say, Gismed himself go there on the forum. Because there are so many things that I keep away, the time not even enough for me for make I expand on the NTND. But again, I go conclude by saying this government not understand the fundamentals of good governance. This government not understand the structural and the symbolical imperatives where I don't talk, where I don't scatter everything for let the layman on go school you understand. Because when we talk about the structure, I talk about policies, I talk about command and control, delegation responsibility. When I talk about the symbolical, that is the values, the culture, the artifacts, the vision and the mission. So they don't understand that, because now by doing those things, when the international community get the concept of the slide, we mean liquidity, we mean security, liquidity, and yield. We go talk on that, we talk on the national issue. For what we know, what to make with the bien, they know for score anything, then come in the DSC concept when a deception, lies, and cover up. So people of Sierra Leone, una attest for ourselves, if we get the fear of God, indeed una they serve God, una look and analyze. If una go stay at that situation like the ordinary man of Sierra Leone, I believe you go live that way. Some of we go die because of we body don't already change, don't adopt to basic facilities then where they not get. If you go live that way, you go stay long. But again, I want to tell viewers thank you for this time, and I hope say we will come next week. But not we keep the record straight. Lord, we know how we stand. Lord, we know say there are good people within the APC where get integrity, where don't do work, where national internationally recognized, where clean, where go able to take that mantle for prosperity. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Basi Kamara. Mr. Jasmet Suma, as you agree, you depart in word. The people them of Salone say 64% of them say the country they go in the wrong direction. Earlier on today, my question have the current administration made lasting gains for Sierra Leone with the international community? If you answer na yes, I want to make you tell Fambulden 3 things where them for continue for do. If you answer na no, I want to make you tell them 3 things where them for do for make a turnaround.
If the question is whether the current administration don't make a lasting gain at the international community,
where it translates beneficially for Sierra Leoneans them.
No, what they dissect the question first.
Yes.
One, it is true, sit and don't gain, make some gains in international community. Whether it's lasting is another question. But indeed, they have gained. First, IMF, World Bank, and the other international institutions, then we don't begin right way off by the time Escoma they go. They don't suspend loan and whatever by the time Escoma they go. But then they also in a factor into the geo-international politics, not only in terms of finance, other factors and the way influence that decision there. Now, these pauper governments don't regain their confidence there. Don't regain the confidence of the World Bank, IMF, and the other institutions them, to the extent that the World Bank, IMF don't give over $400 million over the past 2 years to this government. Now, how does that translate to the lives of our people? Well, for answer that part today, I want to let the people then find out first. For the past 30 or more years, the World Bank, IMF don't involve in our life. Have you ever seen progress in the lives of our people? The answer is no. So each time you hear World Bank, IMF, the praise any government, must know say Bongo Soro don't come for the lives of our people. Because the only time we World Bank, IMF, they endorse an institution, especially an African government, now when they play to their own tune, you they indebt yourself more to them, then they get reason now for suppress your currency so that your value go down. We go make it easier for them go able for extract and export your natural resources away. That not been the modus operandi for the years past. Now, in terms of now, the biggest threat na China. So any government we ready for take debt from World Bank IMF against China, then go able for endorse you and begin for give you accolade. But when you come into how does that translate into the lives of our people, there is nothing to show for it. Our people are suffering. They are really suffering. The government don't get millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. We not see the job we then create. We not see the investment we they make in institutions. But all we they see, man, they will be in the weather back yesterday. Then they ride inside $60,000-$70,000 motor them. Then get multi-million-dollar houses. Then they open bank accounts abroad. Some of them don't begin build mansions in Lebanon, but sometimes the balance then go free just now because they know Lebanon so begin getting Bongo Soro. So with that kind of a situation, the Mamina Kailaun, where they do in little farming for Lego the feeding family. Right now, able to afford a bag of rice. And yet the politicians they fatten themselves with natural government resources. So the issue is how much does it translate into the lives of our people? The answer is it has not done any positive transformation in the lives of our people because of the system itself is rotten. And the people that will run the system, they're all rotten. Until we change the leadership of the system will continue to be the way it is. So my own advice to the people of Salone, for over 57 years, going to 60 years. You dey try the same two institutions. Then they give you the same result. You great grandpa them, follow them, then die poor. You grandpa and you granny, then follow APC and SLPP, then die poor. You daddy and your mama, then say follow APC and SLPP. So my mama and daddy don't die poor. So my mama and daddy, if you no go drag, let them come in kind of house, they no go eat. Then say I die in the die poor. So the answer is simple. If we continue for follow that same road day, you said they die poor, you picking away the car after you go die poor. So if you want to put an end to poverty, follow waiting and do na Senegal, do waiting and do na Guinea, do waiting and do na Ivory Coast, do waiting and do na Ghana, do waiting and do na Nigeria, do waiting and do na Rwanda. The list go on. All the African countries and they want mentioned so. Then dump them all party them. They say, good do. I don't destroy it too much. They embrace change. Embrace transformational leadership. Today, Ghana, now all man they turn to. Woman sick as she cough them and say, go Ghana. Ebo, SALONE have been the bedrock of Western style education. Now the entire world. Inside sub-Saharan Africa. Now in way they can't today, as somebody cough, they say, can go Ghana. Ivory Coast. They all they transform the economy. SALONE just they regress. Why? Because we cling on to them old institution there. So the moment 2023 come, dear, one time you see this card, this is not the National Grand Coalition. Go to your closest party office and ask how to become a member. Let you get your membership card. You didn't have any partner in the diaspora. If you mean well for SALONE, this is not a politics. Will life depend on them? The future, your future, my own future, we future of picking and depend on them. Forget about say, oh, I don't like Kane Kole Mukela, wait till APC don't talk. Your future. You go hate your own future. If you like your own future, then this is your answer. It's simple and straightforward. Not to politics this.
Campaign.
This is not campaign. This is politics. We life of people and depend on them. They don't try the power pass. So do continue the power pass and they do not mess up the country. Take today young man in the pandreg. Take today people in the go. Then they say free education. Free education. Now play cook there in the pan. This is not free education. Then they spend almost million for go buy book na Ghana. 12 million. As the man she done so, they take 12 million again, sister. Nepotism. You go buy books in Ghana. That 12 million day. It's a almost factory I go for open nowadays for fix book, for make book na SALONE. Factory where they make book na SALONE, employ people in back. Why not go for repeat again? But every year I go for take almost million. Can I go na Ghana? You say for free education.
Okay.
You know, SALONE, we're sorry, pa. We're sorry. But God day. But God know they come on heaven come on. Now we get for transform ourselves first. And God say the whole one meet you and I help you on. So Lord will put an end to them corrupt element there, will put the right institutions in place. This is not just meant for the Mami Suma. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Suma. Well, fumble them. Now the word that I want to tell me guest then today, Boku, thank you. I go begin with Mr. Alan Luke. Now the NGC UK and I chair. And then I go come to Mr. Basi Kamara, one-time APC aspirant flag bearer. And then I go come to Mr. Jesmed Mami Fode Mami Suma, when at the national organizing secretary for NGC. I tell una all thank you. We una all don't come and can answer the question.
And I want to also commend you before you continue. You are one of the best hosts where I don't come to meet na VOS. I don't do on VOS on so many other occasions. You know, the first time I come to your show, you have been one of the best so far.
Thank you very much.
How for really control you guess them, and make sure say and stay within the time, and make sure say and stick on to the topic. That is very unique. The other one then just anyway, I not talk, but say you.
Thank you very much. We all work together for enhance the show and for enhance the platform and for make VOS one of the best diaspora and network where they bring salon issues and news them. I want to tell Mr. Mike Berwa also Boku thank you for where he able join we at the phone line and where he also able bring to we the current government and perspective as well as highlight some things then. I hope say next week by God in power work schedule not go be a conflict and una all go able so and make we come inside the Kotoku proper when inside salon. I will not go tell una the question for next week, but if you see the question for today, trust me, it is along the same lines, but we go delve deeper. Even the question itself tells you that we're not going to be here to play. We're going to be here to speak truth. We're going to be here to stand in our truth and stand in our reality. Normally, I can do a closing of 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, depending on how inspired I am. But for this second session, I know they do a long closing. All waiting I want for say from Usai Matilda stand, if una really want to make lasting gains within the international community, if really the president in multiple travels over the 2-year period or 2.5-year period, now for attract investors, now for build relations, broken relations or for strengthen ties with international community, with international institutions and the business world. One thing where we need for do immediately, we need for reduce with debt to GDP ratio. One thing where we need for do immediately, we need for make sure say with per capita GDP for the normal person, go up. We are living below $1 a day. Below $1 a day. And that is not, and there are people who live, below. I mean, if $1 been get a lesser value, now that value they are being for call. One thing where we need for make sure immediately, we need for take care of we inflation na salon. We inflation don't go too high. We need for make sure say we take care of we taxation systems them. We need for make sure say we keys them importation taxation, exportation taxation. We need for look into that seriously because now some of them thing and they the business world and they look at the stability of the country, then they look at the governance structure of the country, then they look at policies, then they look at the taxation. Now the country, there is so many things that we then they look at. So me today, me not there so for answer the specific question for say if the governments don't make lasting gains or not make lasting gains. The one thing again what I go say indeed the need for reduce the fringe benefit of the cabinet. The ministers, the government ministries and agencies, then some of the even within parliament, the need for reduce some of them fringe benefits them, and then they go bring with budgets can down when national spending budgets can down. I can go inside a lot of other things them, but that is not my purpose tonight. My purpose tonight was to pose a question, and for the panelists to answer that question. The panelists then don't answer the question. Let the chips fall wherever they may fall. Let them lie wherever they may fall. But one thing we know is that we need for build with nation. We need for bring with nation, make it get a good standing, make it get a solid standing within the international world, within the international community. We need for make sure, say, when you team up, you say, when they say, where is your origin? You say, Sierra Leone, trust me, you stand tall amongst the rest. That is why I am here. That is why I take my Friday evenings where for the spend with my family. And I'm sitting here and I'm having us, look at these issues in-depthly, analyze them, profile solutions, not of just can criticize, but while we criticize, we analyze, we also want for the profile, solutions them, lasting solutions them, we go effect change within the country. Me fumble them before I go this evening, una not forget Corona actually na a real sickness. No matter what anybody tell you. Like I say, if na lie, then they lie, make posterity judge them. But usai miyo Matilda J. Cole sidom, Corona na sick way they kill. Una was una hand them, una cover, una mot them, una do all waiting the government they ask una for do, make una save una life them, and make we all live for see we safe and gladdy tomorrow. Fumble them without wasting much time. Una all get a beautiful long Labor Day weekend. If una dina countries them where they celebrate Labor Day weekend. If not, una get a blessed weekend and blessed rest of the week until I see una again next Friday, where I shall say the panel will not go easy. If una feel to say something happen today, trust me, nothing not happen. Una wait till next week Friday. We'll get for go inside the Kotoku proper. May God bless you all, and may God continue for bless Mama Salone.
Why do a website when you can create an app for your business for free? Yes, with TAV App Maker, you can make an app as easy as pie. It only takes a few minutes. Simply choose a design template you like, add the features you want, and once you are happy with the results, publish it to Google Play and Apple Store, so your clients can download your app. Go to tavappmaker.com and create your free app today. Why do a web...